Today we are going to dive into a fascinating and mysterious topic. What was the world like before the flood? This event, known for changing the course of human history, raises many intriguing questions. Have you ever wondered how people lived before this great catastrophe? In this analysis, we will explore various aspects of life before the flood, based on the Bible, as well as other historical and scientific sources. From the climate, geography, culture, religion, technology, to the morality and spirituality of those times, everything reveals a world very different from the one we know. Stay with us until the end of this reflection, because what you discover will surprise you. But before we begin, don't forget to leave us a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Share this topic with your friends so they too can learn more about this intriguing era. Let's get started. One of the most striking aspects of the pre-flood world is the longevity of its people. According to the Bible, the patriarchs who lived before the flood reached astonishing ages, ranging from hundreds to nearly 1,000 years. For example, Adam lived 930 years, his son Seth lived 912, and Methuselah, the longest-lived man according to Scripture, reached 969 years. Noah, the protagonist of the flood, lived 950 years. But why did people live so long? One of the most popular theories is that the Earth was surrounded by a vapor canopy that protected humanity from solar radiation, creating a more favorable environment for life. This canopy is believed to have collapsed during the flood, unleashing the torrential rains that flooded the Earth. And after this event, the climate became harsher. With climate change and increased solar radiation, human life expectancy drastically decreased. Another element that distinguishes the antediluvian world is the closeness between the divine and the human. The Bible reveals that before the flood, God maintained direct communication with certain people, such as Adam, Eve, Cain, Enoch, and Noah. He gave them instructions, warnings, promises, and blessings, but also judged and punished them when they sinned. Additionally, the Bible mentions a peculiar phenomenon: the union between the sons of God and the daughters of men, which produced a race of giants known as the Nephilim. This union has sparked much debate among scholars. Some believe that the sons of God were fallen angels who descended to earth and took human wives, resulting in hybrid beings with both human and angelic traits. These Nephilim were known for their wickedness and violence, and their presence on earth was one of the factors that provoked God's wrath and his decision to cleanse the world with the flood. But who were these fallen angels? To understand this, we must go back even further in time, before the creation of the earth. The Bible tells us that before the world was created, God existed in majesty alongside his Son, Jesus, and had also created angels, spiritual beings who worshiped and served him. Among them, one stood out for his beauty and intelligence, Lucifer, whose name means morning star. Lucifer was the anointed cherub, but his pride led him to rebel against God, seeking to be equal to him. He convinced a third of the angels to follow him in his rebellion, and though his attempt to overthrow God failed, he was cast out of heaven and thrown to earth along with the rebellious angels. From that point on, Lucifer became known as Satan, the adversary, and the fallen angels became demons. When God created the earth and humanity, Satan saw an opportunity to take revenge on God. He used a serpent to deceive Eve, convincing her that by eating the forbidden fruit, she and Adam would be like God. Both fell into temptation. which resulted in the entry of sin into the world. From that moment, humanity suffered the consequences: death, suffering, disease, and a rupture in communion with God. Satan, for his part, became the prince of this world, and human history turned into a constant struggle between good and evil. One of the first biblical accounts that reflect this conflict is the story of Cain and Abel, the sons of Adam and Eve. While Abel offered sacrifices to God with faith, Cain, filled with envy, killed his brother. As punishment, Cain was condemned to be a fugitive, but despite his sin, he did not remain without descendants. Civilization expanded through Cain's descendants, who, although they achieved advances in technology and the arts, also distanced themselves from God, indulging in violence and immorality. An example is Lamech, a descendant of Cain, who was not only the first polygamist in history, but also a murderer who boasted of his cruelty. However, not all humanity strayed from God. Adam and Eve had another son, Seth, whose descendants remained faithful to God. Among them stood out Enoch, a man who walked with God. Enoch was known for his faith and communion with the Creator, and the Bible tells us that he was taken up to heaven without experiencing death. This figure represents the few who, in the midst of a corrupt generation, chose to follow God with devotion. As humanity multiplied, so did wickedness. The Bible describes the pre-flood world as a place full of violence and corruption, where men's hearts were continually inclined toward evil. The earth was so corrupted that God regretted having created man and decided to destroy all life with a flood. But there was one man who found grace in God's eyes: Noah. Noah was righteous and walked with God. God entrusted him with the task of building an ark to save his family and a pair of each animal species from the impending judgment that would come in the form of water. The ark was a masterpiece of engineering. According to God's instructions, it was to measure 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high, which in modern measurements would be about 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. This enormous ship was designed to withstand the floodwaters and house thousands of animals, as well as enough food for them and Noah's family. During the 120 years Noah spent building the ark, he also preached to his contemporaries, warning them of the coming judgment. However, humanity did not listen to him and continued in their wickedness. They mocked Noah, considering him insane. No one believed the world would be destroyed by water, as it had never rained on earth until then. But when the time came, God fulfilled his promise. The fountains of the great deep opened, and torrential rains fell for 40 days and 40 nights. The flood covered the entire earth, wiping out all living creatures except those inside the ark. The flood was not only a judgment, but also a new beginning for humanity. Noah and his family survived, and after the flood, God established a covenant with them, promising never again to destroy the earth with water. The rainbow, which appeared after the flood, was the symbol of this divine promise. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. And of course, share your thoughts in the comments. Together, we can build a strong and positive community. Thank you for joining us on this journey of growth and transformation. See you in the next video.